Communism from New York City will have substantial documentation that there's something external influencing my HRA benefits. And I think it's not the system. I think it's people. I think it's the same people that are out there doing tests on people, monitoring their targets, because they're communists. There's something else. It's a ghost government. It's the same group of people that follow you into the gym to tell them to kick you out of the gym. It's the same people that follow you into T-Mobile and tell you to deny you a mobile hotspot purchase, right? And that's what's happening in the city. That's why I just called who I was supposed to call to reopen my benefit case, and she's unavailable. What could have happened today, Friday, if she told me to call Friday? Well, they were eavesdropping who I called. Do you think you know? Oh, it's like they believe that we're dumb enough to not hear them celebrate when bad things happen to people they don't like. Real celebration. Some joke. Oh, we got no steps. Yes, yes, we're gonna win. Right? Real celebration. And these are the people involved in studying me, in looking to create false report, in looking to do what they've been doing over the last 4 years, close to 5 years now in the city. You know, they don't see themselves as the problem. And I called it this morning as the privilege and the unprivileged. To summarize what I said this morning, work related quality of life is so low in the city because the privileged is looking to put down the unprivileged. Who are the privileged? The people who have jobs, who have a place to live, who believe they are the authority in their communities or in the whole city. Basically, the reason why 100,000 white people have left the city and more, definitely more than 100,000 by now, because to make a drastic shift on a train, right, to change the residents, the riders on the train to how it was and where it is now, it's a drastic change from where we were. We had mass migration based on cannabis, right, legalization, and now it's actual communism in New York City. People that believe that they could take your HRA benefits. And it's not just benefits, it's your job too. It's the right to be somewhere. Like here, they don't want me here. They want me to be on the street and do nothing. Because what they want from people is real vagrancy, because they are the privileged. And before, the city thrived on people without many needs. You see, what I also said this morning, a backpacker, someone that took a boxcar from California or from Kansas or whatever, took a train in Chicago, came down here, or got out at Philly, made a whole life here, and nobody was in his way. And now, backpackers like myself, right, with little belongings, have pressure against what we need to succeed, because they feel they own it. They feel they have full authority over their communities. And they don't see themselves looking at deprived people of not just a shower, of not just a cell phone, of not just HRA benefits, of not just places to work. They don't see themselves as communists. They don't see themselves as the problem that the state must correct because they're influencing individual life. They don't see themselves as the reason that made people leave the city, but they are. And that's where I am right now. Made a phone call. The person did not pick up. What can we say? What can we say about that? Well, they intercepted. They found out who she was to tell her no. To tell her, you can't help him. after knowing that if I call HRA, they're not going to pick up the number because I'm already blacklisted there. They're not going to pick up. You'll be on a phone number for 6 hours from now 10 o'clock until 4 p.m. and nobody's going to pick up your phone number. And this is the environment these loonies created in the city. Remember, I got here as a doctor. I didn't get here as a retard, as a skateboarder. I'm the people that they want to put down because they know I'm a higher pay grade. They feel they got power over other people. You know? Oh, but they want to give the illegal immigrants, ream $120 an hour. They don't have a problem with that. They don't have a problem with stopping those people. And the government investing $500 billion to stop them from coming in. And I wrote on New York Post, it's too late. It's too late. Especially for New York City. It's too late. Why is it too late? Because the culture is already going to change. Jobs that used to be for white Americans or for Afro Americans or for real Americans are going to turn to the cheapest available employee. And a company's going to know. They're more profitable. They're more profitable. It's a couple bucks, $600 out of pocket, and they'll shut the fuck up. They'll be there every day. You see? $600 out of pocket, and that's it. While citizens here in the city are looking to deprive people of not just services. It's a deeper embedded corruption that, to me, it happens to me every day. Why? Because I got power, and they can't take my power. I got referent and expert power, and it comes from a document I got in this backpack, right? A document that took 10 years to produce. They know that. I have a big problem with me because I have that document, and they can't do nothing about that. They believe they're sharp. They're sharp here, but in terms of IQ and potential, right? They all have infinite potential, but where they are right now is right here, and I'm way above out here, not even out the screen when it comes to knowing the things I gotta do. Yes, I'm unprivileged and I live on the street. I don't have a problem with that. I was raised like that, you know? I know my environment. I did it in worse places than this. You see, at the beach, insulation, burnt from the sun, getting up, right? Getting PBJ sandwiches in a tent, right? PBJ sandwiches in a tent at 110 degrees with nothing, just bare, no bed, no nothing, just lay down inside the tent, surf every day and shit. I did that. But the city's residents are against a certain demographic, and that demographic is not black or Hispanic. They're against us, and you could tell. Oh, it's their absolute power narrative, baby. It's their absolute power. So God knows who was watching out here. The person did not pick up the phone. She told me to call Friday, not there. What can I assume? Well, they intercepted our communications like the proper red hat commies that they are. And they don't see themselves interfering with unofficial business from their end. They should have nothing to say about where we could live, what job we could have, what purchases do we want to make. They should not be interfering in nothing. But this is what they want to push on you here in New York City. They want to control every aspect around them, everyone around them. They want to pull the strings like the Italian mobsters did to peasants coming out of Ellis Island. They want to decide if they could work, where they could work, how much they could earn, and who makes what. You know, that's sociopath behavior. Let me tell you a little bit about sociopath behavior. Sociopaths are engendered or made. It's not a psychological condition. It's created by a social, right, relationships at a young age. You got A, B, C, right? A is the kid who has the pool in the backyard, more attractive. B is the partly attractive but not too much money, neglected by his parents almost. C is a friend of the three. The sociopath is going to look to control the relationship of B if C feels that he's greater than B. You see? And C is going to be ugly. C's not going to be attractive. C's not going to have girlfriends. C's not going to have too much good material possessions. They might give him a car. He might go to college first. He might have what he needs to succeed in life. But instead of succeeding in life, he's wondering, he's looking at B every morning, wake up and go surfing. So he starts hating the liberty that B has. And not only does he hate B, not only does C hate B because he has to get up every morning, pressured by his parents to go to college, but also wants to stop B from socializing with A. That's a sociopath. And the thin edge, the thin line between sociopath and psychopath is a single step. And this is how most of the people doing this shit in the city is. This is what's happening out here. Sees the sociopath is a mirror image of everyone around them. They all want to be the same. Oh, I like the same thing. Oh, Ferrari, I like the same color car. I like the same girlfriend. I want to study the same thing. I love your wife. They're Tony Montana. They want everything you got, everything, with no identity. And they pose a risk to Americans, but let's keep it simple. Let's keep it simple. This is what these people do to other people where they come from. Not here in the United States. This is what they do here. Right? Over there, people have bullies, criminals, ops who are looking to equalize what they feel you deserve. What they feel you deserve. And your parents are also sociopaths. You could be pro surfer. Your parents don't want you to do something. They'll pull the strings to try to stop you from succeeding. The same like a sociopath would, because they're all the same. While you engage in hypergamy, right? Sleeping with multiple partners, these people never find a girlfriend. Because up here, there's marbles. They're missing a few marbles in the head. And it starts at psychosocial development in children. It starts at the relationship of what they perceive, who they are around, and the relationship between all three. And this is what's happening here in the city right now. You got C thinking that A deserves less than C because he thinks he's B. So C be putting people down. That's A, right? C is putting down A because they believe they're equal. So it's looking to sacrifice what you need to succeed out here. Because they're not American. They're changing, morphing. Their ideals, their values are changing to the Hispanic brand. That's what Hispanics do. They believe they have a caste system. People are on top, people are at the bottom. If they don't accept you at the top, they will do anything in their power to keep you down. And that starts at a young age. That starts at a young age. And that's what New York is learning. New York is learning like sociopath. New York is acting like sociopath. New York is following you around to be telling people that they don't want you here, that I don't want him here and you shouldn't want him here too. They're going to stop you from working. They're going to stop you from charging your phone. They're going to stop you from having things, you see? But they don't see themselves as the psychopath. They don't see themselves as the real sociopath. As people is looking to control the lives of other people around them because he perceives that he is greater than and others are lesser than. He can't accept his own reality. He's not like me. I accept my own reality. I know I sleep on the street. I've been doing so all my life. But New York City is now looking to deprive people of essential services. the right to a cell phone, the right to a shower, the right to proper sleep. They want to be waking you up, screaming at you when you're asleep out here. The right to sleep, the right of HRA, right? Food stamps, cash assistance. They think they could get their little brown turd fingers in your life. And they don't see themselves as having this psychological problem. They don't see themselves with their fingers in the meat, without washing their hands. They don't see themselves with their fingers and hands and minds in someone else's life, because nobody corrected this behavior. Nobody's correcting them in what is normal and what is sociopath behavior. What is a mental problem or a social/mental problem? And that's all I've been experiencing. I've been experiencing problems from these people, from not just the way I look, not just my hair, not just my property, not just it's everything. What I have, they believe they want is theirs or I don't deserve. And that's C believing that he's A or B. And that's who does that? Hispanics. That's how they keep their communities poor. That's how communities stay poor. Because you can't have nothing nice out there. They'll break it. They'll scratch your brand new car. Having more than you, because they believe they have control over their communities, and that's not American. You can tell that New York City fell to that. New York City fell to the illegal immigrants, and culture has changed so quick in 10 years. And it wasn't just the illegal immigrants. It was the immigration here. The people who came to this city changed how everything is. And, I suffer. I've been suffering through, I wouldn't say I've been suffering, but I've been evaluating them every day, every week something happens. Every week. They want to touch you. They want to wiggle your teeth. They want to drug you. They want to wake you up. They want to run your pockets in the train. This is what's happening here. But they still don't want to accept it, that some of us are better than them. Trying their hardest to put you down. I'm a doctor. What are you going to do about it? They can't do nothing about it, but they still want to push their absolute power narrative. Absolute power, no, not him, right? Somebody on the phone likely denying picking up the phone because they know it's me, because they already intercepted communications, and they feel that they're powerful because people be listening to them. People be listening to minorities out here. And what do you think is going to happen to the city if you exponentially, explode this bomb of sociopath behavior? You're going to make people poor. You're going to make people poor. People are going to be really poor here. You're making people poor here. You're not going to stop the progress of a certain demographic that is better than you. Why? Jealousy? Equality? No, that's not American. You're commie scum. You're communist scum. And you have to accept that. These people in the city have to accept that shit. That they're communist, sociopath scum. That liberalism is mental illness. Taking democracy to your own hands and sticking them brown turd fingers in someone else's life should be a crime, especially if they vulnerable population. What they doing to me should be a punishable crime. But that's another subject. That's another subject. Because crime isn't even enforced out here. As long as they don't throw a punch, they could do whatever they want. As long as they don't throw a punch to nobody, they could get their fingers in everybody. They could pull the strings like the Godfather in everybody's lives, and nobody's going to do nothing. They could study you, inject you with experimental drugs, draw your blood, inject a liter of water in your bloodstream. They could do whatever they want, give you syphilis, give you HIV, and they feel no they got no guilty conscience on their actions. Why? Because they're sociopaths. It's a thin line between sociopath and psychopath. When they get that shit in their head that they believe they are better than somebody else, that somebody else should be put down, they've already crossed the line. Americans are individual. They don't care what you got. You know? They don't care what you got. You see? You can have a push lawnmower, a wagon, a Chrysler wagon from 1986. The neighbor can have a Ferrari and a John Deere lawnmower and a pool and the hottest bitch in the world and be a playboy and do all this shit. Got a playmate for a wife. And the American does not care what's on the other side of the fence. But the people in the city are turning to the people that are going to hop the fence and go check out what else he got up in that house. And his kids are going to race wanting to be like the neighbor. And that's the problem with Hispanic communities and sociopathic behavior. That's why communities are poor. That's why there's less jobs for them too, because they all want to be canceling each other out. That's why there's less jobs, less money, more drug use, more poverty, right? Because they want to be putting each other down. They think they're higher, you're lower, all this and that. And all they doing is bringing the community down, not themselves. They're bringing everybody down with them. And they think they're okay mentally, you know, with their fingers in the meat, like with the fingers in my food, like, no, you don't deserve that food, papi. You know? You don't deserve that food, papi. Looking to take my food stamps and cash assistance. Don't see themselves with the hand in a basket in my gullet. That's what they suffering from out here. And that's from immigration, without a doubt. That's people that were not from New York City, that are not from here. They're from Atlanta, from Chicago, right? From other impoverished communities, from Dominican Republic, from other places. People coming here to change people's minds, and they turn to them. They stop being American. The problem on HRA is a system that's turning un-American. Services, American services, money, taxpayer money that is being given to whomever is pulling the strings, but not real equitable, and everybody else that needs it. They feel untouchable. And they're going to do it until they realize that they made a big mistake, until the communities go poor, until they stay poor for the rest of their life, wondering, what could I have done with my life? You know? They're just trying to drive me out the city because they know I'm A. That's all they're trying to do. They know I got here A. Looking to marry a supermodel, chatting it up with Cara Delevingne. Hey? They know I'm talking to Cara Delevingne. They know that. Everybody knows who Cara Delevingne is. A British girl. Everybody knows who I'm talking to. Everybody knows what I'm drinking, how much I'm drinking, what I'm eating, what I'm not eating. What is that mirror? That's all sociopathic behavior. That is all sociopathic behavior. They all want to be so deep in your life, they think they could pull the strings. They think they could decide where you work. They think they could put in a word for them to fire you. They think they could convince the community to not like you. They think they could fill out false paperwork, right? Pass medical paperwork around and try to create false reporting. The army took the paperwork that these people created in the city about me and threw all that shit in the trash. So that's all it knows how to do. All it knows how to do is look to put people down, claim they're crazy and shit, you know? Put A down because C is better. Because I'm the ugly motherfucker that thinks you should go. You know, you don't deserve no job, no girlfriend, no friends. you know, but they don't see themselves with a problem. They don't see themselves with that problem. And that problem is unfortunately very infectious. That shit spreads to your own family whenever you're not looking, to your own family. And if your father is a little slow, your own father be looking at the side of your fate too. Be voting against you. Oh, sleep with all his girlfriends. Everybody knows my story. Oh, sleep with his girlfriends. You don't deserve a girlfriend. Sleep with all of them. Sleep with his girl. Eh? They think they hard. They think they hard body. But don't see they turd shit fingers in my food. They don't see themselves looking to stop somebody else from feeding. They don't see the ethical boundary they're not supposed to be crossing, because it's all psychological, it's all mental, it's a disease. Psychosocial development is critical in children's lives, and it must be corrected early. Early. How do you do it? By raising kids unequally. That's how you solve it. If you want to raise kids equally, you're gonna start creating real big problems. You want to give every kid the same? Oh, the same coloring book, the same coloring book, the same. No. You have to let them understand that there's differences in people through life. Some are rich, some are poor. You're getting this tiny Hot Wheels car, and she's getting the Tonka, the RC car. Create differences. Because once they start learning perception, rich and poor, it's impossible to get them to stop. So up here, they think they're up, and they're down here. Want to be ruining others' lives, and they don't see themselves doing that. Those are the people that take your job, that want to steal your opportunity. Those are the clout chasers, the real clout chasers. Those are the people chasing other people's clout. Those are the people with home invasions. That's psychosocial development, because they can't accept their own fate. They can't accept their fate. I'm gonna call one more time, 10:38 here on stream, and see if she picks up. Let's see if she picks up. Not there. And she picked up within seconds on Wednesday. Within seconds. Ring, ring, 1-2. She was there. Not right now. The day she told me to call. Guess I'll call her next week. But how it feels, whew, feels direct discrimination, which is the aspect of that they don't see themselves committing themselves to. They think they're on top, when in reality they're at the bottom. Yeah, don't forget my lesson today. This is Dr. Roman Bonilla. Hope y'all have a good day. I don't know what I'm gonna do for now. It's already 10:30. I think I'm gonna start working and forget about calling her, or maybe call her at 3 after calling the 4th time. Peace. Don't forget, like my grandmother said, ponte gringola en los ojos, like the horses. Horses have these mirrors and shield to keep people looking forward. Live life like that. Because if you start looking left and right, you're going to start discriminating other people. You're going to start thinking that you have power over other people. You're going to be thinking closely resembling the antics, the beliefs of a psychopath. Americans are individuals. Individuals. They don't care what you got. They don't care if you eat or not. Once you cross that boundary, they believe they could stop you from eating too. They believe they could stop you from going to the bathroom, from eating, from having services, from having cell phones, from having nice clothes, from having a beautiful girlfriend, from having a career, from having a job, from having a place to live. They believe that is the lack of psychosocial development in children and psychosocial behavior. And the boundary between there and psychopath is thin, thin, very thin, and you're murdering people. You want to hurt them because they different than you. You want to go rape his wife. You want to go rape his wife because he doesn't deserve. You want to go drug his girlfriend and date rape her because you don't want her with him. You want to tie her in a bed. Yeah, that's what these people with Asperger's, right? Asperger's, a little Down syndrome, a little autism. This is what they engage in. This is real. This is reality. I'm not lying. This is what these people who suffer from these problems end up doing. You want to go dig down your girl too. Such things are not choices or desire. Everybody else has an ethical code that people that lack psychosocial development does not have. You know, Americans have a built-in code since high school. We're like that. Oh, he has a hotter girlfriend than me. I don't care. I'm gonna French kiss her in front of that locker. But the ones that want to be deciding who deserves what, they'll fall. They'll turn the cycle. They're a step away from doing something harmful to someone, all for the belief that they feel unequal, that they deserve more. And that's why the teeth hurting, the face punching, the hair braiding, the clothes slashing. That's why all the cities the way it is, because they're learning from the wrong people. Because New York is losing its American identity. It's somewhere else. And nobody's correcting them. All right? Nobody's telling them, yo, accept your fate. It's very simple. Accept your fate. Accept your fate. There's rich and there's poor, and you're poor. You can't do nothing about it. You're not supposed to be sticking your fingers in somebody else's life, because you're going to end up crossing the line. And they cross the line quick. They cross the line quickly. Hope y'all have a good day.